And don't forget who you belong to. Ever again.
What if I do?
I'll remind you. As many times as I need to.
Oh my God. I have to kiss him now. Otherwise, I'll make him angry. Want to know how I got myself into this situation? First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Jane, just your average girl next door, working in my dad's family restaurant. We're not rich, but life has always been simple and steady. Well, that is until he walked in, Xavier. His name alone could send shivers down anyone's spine. He was handsome, sure, but there was a darkness in his piercing gray eyes, a danger that made the air around him feel heavy. He came in like a storm, shattering the calm of our little diner. I remember the way his deep voice demanded to see my father, his menacing tone slicing through the casual chatter of our regular customers. My dad, ever the calm and collected man, tried to hold his ground, but Xavier's demand was outrageous. $1 million payable in a month. Our family doesn't even make that much in 10 years, let alone a single month. We begged for mercy, explaining we didn't have that kind of money. But Xavier wouldn't back down. He said something about my dad owing him, a debt from years ago that had finally caught up with him. Dad's face turned pale as a ghost, but he wouldn't tell me the details. That's when I made the decision that changed my life forever. I stepped forward, my heart pounding like a drum, and said I would pay the debt another way. At first, Xavier smirked, clearly amused. He didn't think I had anything to offer. Then, as if deciding to entertain my desperation, he gave me a cold, calculated look and said,
You'll come with me. Now.
I didn't even have time to process the words before his men grabbed my arm and dragged me outside. Dad begged and shouted for them to stop, but Xavier raised a hand, silencing him. And just like that, I became his possession. Life in Xavier's world is nothing like I've known. Friendly family dinners and the comfort of my small-town home are gone. Now I live in his sprawling mansion, surrounded by wealth and power, yet I feel like a bird trapped in a golden cage. Xavier isn't cruel, at least not physically, but he's controlling, and his expectations are clear. I follow his rules without question, which brings us to now. We're at some high society gala, a world I don't belong in, pretending to be a happy couple. Xavier told me to act like I'm madly in love with him, and he's been testing my limits all night. Now he's leaning in, his face dangerously close to mine. His voice is low, a quiet command only I can hear.
And let me remind you, you are mine.
My pulse races. I know I can't defy him, not in front of all these people. But as I tilt my head up to meet his lips, a question burns in the back of my mind. How did my dad end up in debt to a man like this? And more importantly, how am I ever going to get out of this nightmare? Little did I know, this kiss would change everything. Not just for me, but for Xavier too.